Welcome to my channel. My name is Adam Wylęgała and today I'm going to review something different, namely a software called Zeiss Forum with a special emphasis on Retina Workplace. This software can function as a patient administration for any machines with a Zeiss logo on it, but can also be mostly used for viewing examinations. And it can be highly interactive, like with the machines owned by Zeiss. Usually you have the possibility to view them and also modify it, or can be used as a viewing software for anything that's DICOM compatible. In that case, it's going to be basically a printout, something like a PDF. I didn't get any money, any compensation for this review, so please stay with me and watch my review of Zeiss Forum. The first thing that comes to mind when we think of Forum is usually this advanced imaging software. But Forum is another thing. Forum is actually a very nice and very useful patient administration tool. And we are going to start with this section. So this is what you see when you start using Forum. You have different options when it comes to the interface. You have the patient directory, which is right now. You have the document display if you select a patient. Then you have the work list, you have the patient administration, and you have DICOM import. And of course, you have also the system administration. You can change the settings, but I'm not going to really show this as this is something that people who already have are more interested. There is the order section where you can actually select orders for patients, make new order, delete order, and then you will have and send it to a specific machine. Then we have the patient administration, and this is where the fun starts. Because let's imagine that you have a patient who changed their name, or there is some spelling error in the name, and you are using plenty of machines from Zeiss. What you will have to do, if you don't have Forum, you will have to go to each and every device and change it manually. Here you can do it automatically. So every time somebody will just turn on the machine, the database will be updated. So the patient name is going to be updated. Another thing is that let's imagine you have two patients with the same name and somebody made an examination of that patient on the wrong name. In that case, it's also fairly easy to just move the examination from one side to the other one, from one patient to the other patient, and this is exactly what I'm going to do. And you can also delete examination, or you can save the examination, or you can even delete the patient. But when you buy Forum, you can only do it here. You cannot do it on Cirrus, for instance, which on the one side is a good thing because it's safe. Only people who have access to can do it. The downside is every time something needs to change, you need to log in, change it in Forum, and then log out. The next section of Forum is the document display. And as the name implies, this is where you can see the documents. So basically something that you can normally print or store as PDF on Zeiss machines or any other machines. If you have DICOM connectivity, you can store them in DICOM and send automatically to this display and then view them. I will show you later how you can do it. In Forum, on the left side, you have different viewing options. On the right side, you have the patient's visit with those tiny boxes with different colors specified for OCT, fundus imaging, visual field, and biometry. Down, you have the miniature of the exams taken. As you can imagine, it would be quite hard to make the PDFs of every imaging of the every fundus photo or FA that was done. So when it comes to the fundus imaging, you can view them next to each other. You can have multiple views, and this is much more useful. And you can also measure the sizes. You can also calculate the circle, the area size. And when you have the displayed line scans or raster scans, you can also view them. So initially you saw that we have the documents display in Forum, but you cannot display the 3D macula or rasters. The thing is that you can display the documents only in this part of Forum. In order to do it, to have the documents, you need to export them from, let's say, Cirrus viewer. And here you can print the PDFs, you can save them as PDFs, or you can export the PDFs as DICOM, and then you will have the same printout that you get on paper within Forum. And this is basically what I'm talking about. After we've exported them as DICOMs, you can see them in documents as basically PDF printouts. And this applies to all modalities, whether it's the OCT angiography, whether it's the macular cube, whether are rasters, or from other machines like the fundus camera or autorefractometer. Every time you make PDFs, you can export them and see them in, view them in Forum. And naturally, you can mix different modalities. So you can have visual field on the one side, and then you can have the fundus photo or macular cube or on-face OCT on the other side. So it's again, and you have all the information on the printout basically in the document display. For most applications, this approach is reasonable, it makes sense. The only problem is if you have rasters or if you have like 3D scans, then it is a problem because you only have the printout of a section. So it's not really ideal. It's for most cases, if you were happy with the printout, that's as far as you can get. But for, let's say, 3D, if you want to scroll the scan down, you still need to have the Cirrus viewer for that reason, or by Retina Workspace or any other workspaces that you want to use. There are also various shortcuts and ways to optimize your workflow with the document display. So one is you hold the Shift key and then you select multiple visits from which you can see the documents here, right? So if you just select all of them, you have all the visits and then you can pick. And actually, instead of dragging and dropping, what you can as well do is to select documents you want to display and then just hit the document display button. There are also other options for this, but document display is the default. And then the software will basically adjust the number of viewing nodes to the number of displays. So it's very time efficient. This is particularly useful if you have fundus photo and fundus fluorescein angiography and you want to display only parts of this, right? You don't want to see all images and you just hit this and then document display and you will see only the fraction of taken images. And as you can imagine, if you double click on the image, then you can scroll between the images and then you have the large image. You can also change the contrast, you can change the opacity, you can change the black and white as well. And then if you leave it, then it's basically saved. And if you don't like this changes, you can reset it as well later on. With Retina Workplace, you have different options. So you have the raster view, you have the macular change analysis, advanced RPE, you have the angiography analysis, and macular thickness analysis. But all of these optional views are composed of 3 sets of windows. So above you have the fundus photo and superimposed image. It could be like here the ETDRS chart, it could be OCT angiography. Down you have the B-scans and down you have the graphs. While on the far right you can see the events. So if you look down, you can see directly that there are those tiny little syringes. This is basically a way to note that the patient got an injection on that time. You can also add another information on like the hospitalization, on surgical procedures, on blood draw, or any custom informations as well. I don't use this, but I can imagine if you have like super premium practice and this can be done by the people in reception, they can basically note this. Oh, the patient got the injection today. They will note this. For me, it's basically too much of a hassle to do it. Another great feature of Forum is that it offers you a multitude of parameters that can be measured and that can be displayed as a change on these graph below. So you can have the average cube thickness, you can have cube volume, average thickness under ATDRS, but you can also have the particular subfield thickness on like the outer superior subfield in cases of very focal edema. You can have this, you can have the RPE elevation, sub-RPE elevation. So it really allows you to customize the change analysis on a particular parameter that you wish to be displayed on this program. However, only two graphs can be displayed simultaneously, right? So one is going to be the green one, the other one is the orange one. These are the two that you can display, and you can naturally change them as you wish. This is not the only viewing option that you can have here. You can change the graph into miniature display. This is especially useful if you're looking at the OCT and geography, and maybe your concern is about how does this lesion changes over time, rather than the graph of the thickness. You can have this as well. This is particularly useful for OCT and geography because sometimes you also don't know on which level the lesion is best depicted. So then you can see it on the miniature and then display it on the larger screen above. And then whenever you click double on the scan, you'll have the possibility to see the enlarged version of the OCT and geography. And the same applies to OCT B scans. When you have the macular cube, you double click on them and you can see the on-face OCT, which is also quite useful, especially when you compare the on-face OCT to the OCT and geography. For the fundus image, you can have either ICG, you can have fundus photo, color fundus photo, you can have the fluorescein geography, you can also have the SLO. It's very nicely done. And when it comes to using, as we are using the Zeiss fundus cameras, they work very well when it comes to superimposing them. You can naturally manually do it. Like here, there is an option to manually adjust the fundus fluorescein geography to the SLO image, but it works very well. Naturally, those type of algorithms are trained on the Zeiss fundus cameras. I'm not sure if you can use the other manufacturers' fundus cameras. If yes, just let me know how it functions with Forum and how it functions with the structure identification. Of course, there is a way to modify the images. You can put names, you can put the measurements, you can put circles, you can measure the OCTs, but also you can draw on the SLO as well. After you are done with image analysis, you can naturally print them or store them as PDFs. In that case, you are going to have 2 pages long reports. One page is going to be the images, the other one is going to be a graph. Moreover, you can store them in DICOMs. And why would you do it? Well, firstly, because it takes some time to prepare those kind of analysis. If you want to put a specific frame of the fluorescein geography or particular part of OCT that you're interested, and you want to store it for the next follow-up, or the patient will come for a laser treatment and you don't want to start all over again. So this is one great thing. Why would you want to store your view? A second one is basically, if you store it as DICOM, you will have it in your document display. Hence, you will have the access on all the computers that do not have Retina or any other workplaces. You will see what on that workplace the view is using the document display. In that case, naturally, every time the patient comes, you'll have to get a new document. Because we do not own Zeiss Glaucoma Workplace, we didn't decide to buy it. So this is the official website from Zeiss, and I'm going to just show you what they have it here. So this is probably the view from Forum, Glaucoma Workplace. Here you have the probably GPA, as I can imagine. Then you have the visual field analysis with those triangles are basically the change. If the change is on multiple visits, then you have the black triangle, and then if it's like only 2 visits, then it's going to be like the half triangle. So that's something that I showed you when I was reviewing PTS 2000. Then you have the RNFL superimposed on the SLO. Then you have the GCL again on the SLO, and then you have a color photo of the optic nerve head. And again, This is another display with some RNFL thickness profile between the eyes doing multiple visits. And you also have progression. Oh, so this really looks interesting. Another workplace that you can buy is Zeiss Refractive Workplace, especially if you own these two, VisuMax and Mel. Then it really integrates your two lasers plus the refraction machines that you use. And then there is the Zeiss EQ Workplace. So this is for the refractive cataract workflow. So if you have the IOL, if you have Zeiss microscopes, you can integrate this as well, your workflow, and really get less time and also avoid errors, right? Because if you input something from a paper, then this can be a cause for errors. Let me just briefly summarize the forum. There are two things. The patient administration is extremely useful. I really like this. We use it quite often if the patient changes their name or we need to change the examination. That's one part. It's very easy. You just need 15 minutes training and then you'll be able to do it without sitting in front of each machine and then doing it manually. So it's extremely useful. If you have multiple Zeiss machines, it's going to be quite a hit in your practice. And then you have the documents display included in the basic forum package. Document display allows you to display all those PDFs like reports. They are naturally stored in DICOM, but you can have visual field next to OCT, next to Fundus Photo. So it's completely doable. There is also a way to connect non-DICOM instruments to Forum with the automated conversion to DICOMs. The reason why we wanted Forum was we wanted to switch from paper printouts to computers so that nobody has to just walk to another room with the printouts. And then again, it was super useful that you didn't need to, if you had multiple visits with multiple imaging, you didn't need to just go through them all by one. So in the end, we were able to save 40 minutes a day. So 2 patient visits more for our practice, which makes sense financially to buy yourself that kind of expensive software. And these were basic forum functionality. Then if you have more money to spend, you can buy yourself workplaces. And then again, this is a licensed product. So on every computer, you need to choose between different licenses for workplaces. It makes sense if you have a huge hospital and then you have people who are just doing retina, people who are just doing cataract. So for them, naturally, you just don't spend money on things that you don't need. That's the one thing. But on the other side, you need to really calculate it cleverly. So why did we buy Retina Workplace? Well, the problem with Cirrus is that you can only view 2 follow-ups. You can only compare 2 visits, which is not enough, right? If you have a patient who's coming to you for a couple of years, you want to see how does the anti-VEGF work on the CNV, on the macular thickness. You want to have a broader image. You want to have a full picture of that change. And for this, you basically need Forum to see this. Forum is very detailed. You have multiple different types of option of viewing, which is cool. But on the other side, again, this basic functionality, like viewing 6 visits, is present on most of the machines, right? Most of the OCTs allows you within the built-in package, and Cirrus is the only one that doesn't give you that functionality. There's only one exception, which is the GPA. So this is the guided progression analysis. This is the analysis of the RNFL for the glaucoma. It's also very unique because it gives you the confidence interval for the progression, so the planned progression of the patient. Extremely useful. And this is partially why we didn't buy Glaucoma Workplace, because we decided, well, we have the GPA, so why would you buy Glaucoma Workplace, right? We can have the document display for the visual field and then the Fundus Photo or the SLO, which with Cirrus 6000 is pretty good, the SLO, so you don't really need the Fundus Photo. At least this is what we say to each other. Moreover, Cirrus is not a multi-modal imaging platform. It's only an OCT. So if you want to compare the Fundus Photo or the fluorescein angiography or ICG with the OCT, you need to have the Forum, right? So it creates this multimodal imaging software where you can do everything you want with the images and see where the leakage is compared to OCT. Another great thing is that you can show Forum to the patient, and it has high contrast, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand for the patient, so it's also a nice feature for that reason. There's also a mobile version of Zeiss Forum, so you can use it on iPad. Another great feature is how Forum communicates with the devices. So basically, when you take a scan on Cirrus, it's stored locally and then it's also sent simultaneously to Forum. So everybody can view it, but a technician who wants to, let's say, adjust the segmentation can view it very fast without any need for retrieval of the DICOM. But when you switch off Cirrus, then scans stored locally are going to be erased. So why is that important? Because the truth is, you don't need those scans, right? You need it when the patient comes for a follow-up 6 months later, but you don't need them tomorrow, you don't need them in a week. And if you store it on your local drive, on your OCT, every Windows user knows that whenever the data on your local drive reaches, let's say, 90% of the hard drive's capacity, your machine is going to slow down. And to avoid that, Zeiss has this architecture that everything is stored on the server without having any impact on your machine performance. So what are the downsides of Retina Workplace except for its price? Well, it is an advanced software, and usually things that are advanced are difficult, right? The way that you can here manually change so many things and put so many detailed parameters means that it will take some time to actually learn to use this machine. It's not as easy as a Cirrus Viewer, it's not as easy as Document Display. You will require some time to get accustomed. So why should you buy Forum? Because it's basically a great software. It gives you things that other softwares don't give you. So if you are very much into Retina, I can wholeheartedly encourage you to buy Zeiss Forum with Retina Workplace. Another reason when you would like to buy Forum is when you have multiple Zeiss devices. Then again, it makes sense, especially if you decide to buy Cirrus. Otherwise, you are not going to be happy and you are not going to use the whole potential of this. So the bottom line is, you want to own Cirrus, buy yourself Forum, period. Thank you very much for watching my review. I hope you've enjoyed. Please subscribe to my channel and goodbye.